The time being 7:30, I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of supervisors, please.
Twenty-one supervisors are present. Supervisors Belsky and Brown are excused.
Any citizens' comments? Any citizens wishing to speak? Any citizens wishing to speak? Any citizens wishing to speak? Hearing none, citizens' comments are closed. Announcements of the chair. I do not have any tonight. Youth and Governance, we do have 2 members present tonight. We have Sasha Stronzek and Claire Koch. Nice to see both of you. Thank you for attending. Supervisor reports. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to highlight some of our recent things that we did in Public Works at our most recent meeting. We'll start with facilities, and just to our east over here at the courthouse, the main entrance is going to undergo renovation. There's a ramp that's there, there's a railing, it is failing, the railing's failing, and we're going to have that remediated. So the entrance will not be closed, it'll still be open to business, but it'll have to be taken apart, reconstructed, and done over again. The building to our north, Public Safety Building, we still only have one functional elevator. As you proceed into the building and look to the right, there's a 2-bank elevator there. And hopefully, second quarter of this year, we can get the hydraulic part that goes in there and get that fixed. So we're working on these things. We still have our other items that we're taking a look at here. I'm looking at the notes here as they appear. We have some overhead garage door replacement, phase 2, which we'll be looking at the second quarter of this year. We have the HVAC we're still working out at KCDC. We're going to be finishing up phase 3 soon, and then hopefully done with the 4th and final phase later this summer. It'll probably be third quarter before we get that finished up. So it's not gone particularly smooth. We had to send a couple of units back to the manufacturer because they weren't functioning in the manner that they were supposed to. So it's better to fix it on the front side rather than try to live with it for the term of its duration. So just kind of a hiccup there, but it is what it is. In parks, we're talking about a few things Kemper related. You may have read in the paper that we had a motorist that smashed into one of the Kemper walls. I did not see it. I think Supervisor Nez is maybe more familiar with that, and if you would like to get all the gory details, perhaps you can ask her and she'll provide them. But it appears to be more cosmetic than structural, but it was kind of a downer considering how much time and effort we put in at Kemper to see that it hit by the motoring public. As far as the chapel goes, we're taking a look at some cursory repairs that can be done for this upcoming wedding season, but we won't have a full remodel of the chapel until probably the fall. It'll be out for RFP this summer, and we're going to try to get some cosmetic upgrades done there. Some roof repairs are going on at Kemper as well. The long-awaited Kemper Center Simmons Gymnasium door replacement has been done. They're just doing some finishing touches on it. They've got some paint and so forth to do, and probably as we speak, it's been completed. We do have a mobile stage. It's on order for our Parks Department. We'll not see it this season. We can look for it next year or at the end of this year. The cool thing that's happening also in parks is Pike River Phase 3. So this is not the same as the south branch of the Pike, which has been in the news lately. This is the branch of the Pike River that exits Petrifying Springs and enters Parkside land for University of Wisconsin Parkside. So for those of you who are familiar with the project, this is the third phase of 3. We're very happy to have it done. Today, on my rain gauge, I noted over about an inch of rain. And formerly, an inch of rain probably would have closed Petrifying Springs. There probably would have been barriers up, can't come in the park, you know, that type of thing. And I don't think anybody batted an eye. It was just water's flowing through, nice pace, and it's healthier for our ecosystem, and it's better for our patrons. And it's really nice for the people downstream. They don't have all that sediment and stuff in their water. So kind of happy stuff there. There's another thing with parks. I can't remember it, so I'm just going to have to pass. We're on to Public Works and Highways. There's county cracks. County highways are being filled by the crews with the cracks that are left over from the winter expansion and contraction. Brush trimming, filling potholes. We have some culvert replacements and inspections along County Highway K. That's ongoing. We've got some new fleet equipment that's come in, a couple of single-axle dump trucks. That's the light-duty stuff. And we're looking for a couple of tri-axle dumps to maybe come in and be part of our fleet later this year. Takes a long time these days to obtain these things, so we've got our fingers crossed on those. Any in-depth questions? Our Director of Highways is sitting in the back. We can bring him up to the microphone in a blink of an eye, so everything you want to know, let us know. County Highway KD is set to have some speed enforcement signage placed there, the type of flashing things where it'll alert you to your speed, and that is going to be north of KD, north of Highway 50 on KD, and that's going to be beginning work this month. For those of you who are familiar with Petrifying Springs, County A bridge replacement is happening right now. So from 30th Avenue to Green Bay Road, it's a no-go. You can't go there, you have to turn around, and hopefully that will be done in June of this year, so fingers crossed on that. That kind of wraps it up for the moment for highways. Golf's looking towards a big season this year. They're trying to upgrade their game. As you may know, there's a new driving range at Brightondale, and there's a new practice green at Brightondale. Those need to still take effect, and hopefully by May, those will be ready if we get some nice, good growing conditions. And we may have a little bit of a delay for the opening of the Red 9 on Brightondale, just due to weather-related type things and trying to get that area back in shape. That's it for the Golf Division, and that's it for my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Any other supervisor reports? Seeing none, supervisor reports are closed.
Old business?
Supervisor Nudo.
Thank you. Move resolution to reconsider ordinance 17.
Motion by Supervisor Nudo, second by Supervisor Gerstin. Supervisor Nudo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I voted against this resolution 2 weeks ago because I felt that it was not going to pass with the amendments that were added. So in voting against it, I wanted to give everybody a chance to look it over and then reconsider it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not 100% in favor of everything that's in this resolution. However, I have always felt that if I like at least 8%, 80% of a resolution, I will vote for it. And that is the case here, where I support this resolution as it is. So that's the reason why I'm making this motion to reconsider. I hope that everyone here will avoid playing games by trying to add in more amendments and instead support the resolution that went through hours of committee review. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Nudo. Supervisor Gerstin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would propose an amendment to Ordinance 17. This amendment was sent to the county board last week, and it also is on your desk. And if I get a second, I'll just briefly comment on the amendment.
Supervisor Gerstin, before you start, we will need a vote on the motion to reconsider. And that is done by roll call or just by? Okay, so all in favor of Supervisor Franco?
Am I correct? Supervisor Nudo is making a motion to vote on the resolution from last week without any amendments? Is that what he said?
Supervisor Nudo is bringing forth the amended resolution so we can,
The amended resolution as it's specified here?
no, what was passed 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
Or what
so,
was amended 2 weeks ago that did not pass.
which was Supervisor Gertzen's amendments?
Correct.
So we're voting on Supervisor Gertzen's,
No, we're just voting on the motion to reconsider what we
Okay.
took up 2 weeks ago.
okay. Okay, thank you.
If I may, just to clarify, if the motion to reconsider passes, then we are back in the same position that we were in 2 weeks ago when the final vote was taken. So it will be the proposed ordinance as amended, because those amendments passed the board before we got to the final vote.
Okay.
And then it is back before the body for the body's pleasure. It could be further amended, et cetera.
Okay.
Any other questions on the vote? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Supervisor Gersten.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. And so I already commented that I'm proposing an amendment to ordinance 17. If I get a second, I'll briefly comment on it. So. Okay, thank you. So the document that I sent out explains that I'm making an amendment to move the waiting period in Section 202 from 6 months to 365 days. So really, it's as simple as that. It's moving it from 6 months to 365 days. I will say that there were several supervisors that wanted to eliminate the 6 months and require that you cannot bring the same policy back within a 2-year term. However, this is a compromise. So as Supervisor Nudo said, this policy is an improvement of the existing policy, and though we don't agree with everything, it's because it's an improvement. I do offer this as an amendment in order to, as a compromise. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gersten. Supervisor Morrissey.
I certainly don't see it as a compromise, but I do agree with Supervisor from the 15th District that the 6 months time frame needs to be removed from the current rules. However, I believe it needs to be removed in its entirety and not have a time frame when a supervisor can request an item to be reintroduced to have it placed on the agenda. The rule already requires that a majority of the supervisors need to agree to reintroduce the item and have it placed on the agenda. Agenda restrictions can silence supervisors' voices and prevent items from bringing important issues to the table. By restricting agenda items, supervisors may inadvertently or purposely suppress important discussions and debate. Restricting an item when a majority of supervisors want it disregards the fundamental principles of majority rule. Agenda restrictions can limit transparency and create a lack of trust between the public and the supervisors. Restricting an item would restrict public input and participation in the decision-making process. Agenda restrictions can limit supervisors' ability to respond to emerging issues or changing circumstances, thus delaying decision-making potential, leading to missed opportunities. I wonder to myself why a supervisor would want to restrict agenda items and the discussion that would occur for over a year. I urge my colleagues to vote down this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Morrissey. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll say in all candidness, I support Ordinance 17. I think it's a great one. It should go through. And if the only way that it could go through was to vote for this amendment that our Supervisor Gertsen is proposing, I would do it. But I don't really see it as a beneficial amendment. And the reason for that is this. The current status, if I understand correctly, 6-month period, within a 2-year time period, the time that we serve on this county board, conceivably, under the most obtuse circumstance, something could be brought back a total of 4 times. Now, in the period of time that I've been here, that's never happened. So why we think that that would happen at this particular juncture, I don't know. I mean, it could, it might, it may be. But for the past memory, I don't recall it happening. And the reason it hasn't happened is because if something fails, it doesn't have popular support, to bring it back again, you're still going to have that number of votes to pass it, so it becomes fruitless. So there's the argument that it could be brought back somewhat as a pesky proposition or as a nuisance, and it could be some degree of embarrassment for the administration, or it could slow us down here conceivably in our county board chambers. Well, sometimes that's the price of democracy. Sometimes that's the price of free speech. It hasn't happened yet, but to have an ordinance on something that maybe, might, could happen, that hasn't happened to any of us in the past, I think is really restrictive, and it could, in a certain situation, work to our detriment if there were to be a situation where we had rapidly changing situation, the particular facts in the situation are not the same as they were 3-4 months ago, you'd want to be able to revisit it. This would hamstring that. So therefore, I would encourage you to pass the original ordinance and not pass the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Any other supervisor comments on this debate? Seeing none, we will vote on the amendment, and there is a request for a roll call. So we are voting on the amendment that Supervisor Gerstin proposed. Yes.
The amendment passes 17 yes, 4 no.
Okay, now we are voting on ordinance 17 as amended. Any discussion on the ordinance as amended?
Do I need to read it?
Reggie?
Ordinance 17 from the Legislative and Executive Committees, an ordinance to amend Municipal Code of Kenosha County, Chapter 2, Rules of the County Board. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisor Nez and Stocker were excused from the Legislative Committee, and Supervisor Brown was excused from the Executive Committee.
Supervisor Morrissey?
I don't support the ordinance, so I will not be speaking on it.
It doesn't need. Okay. All right, then we will vote on the ordinance 17 as amended. And there's been a roll call requested. If you are in favor of the amendment. I did ask. I'll ask again, is there any discussion on the amendment? On the motion with the amendment? Yes. Is there any discussion? We're voting on the ordinance as amended. Yes. Yes, I did ask if there was any, I did ask. Supervisor Nudo, are there any comments on, that's okay.
Sorry. Okay, well, again, after those amendments, we've been going through this resolution pretty much, or these rules, for a long period of time. I remember when I was chairman, we talked and we went to committees many, many times. So then kind of finally, we came to an agreement now, which was because of the amendments, I reconsidered that, but also put it in there that I did not want any new amendments to mud the water. Now, I know according to Supervisor Gersten, he said that he heard from many supervisors that they did not like the 1 year and they wanted to change it to 2 years. I mean, I was at the meeting here. I don't recall anybody saying anything at the last meeting to change this year from 1 year to 6 months. So I'm taking that pretty much everybody was happy with the fact that he was going through with the amendments that Supervisor Gersten made the last time. Now, to come in and make another amendment, I don't think it's fair. I don't believe it's right. And as I said before, I like 80%. I don't know if I have any problems by changing from 1 year to 6 months. But again, at the last minute, and by saying that many supervisors wanted to do that, I did not hear from anybody. And where was that said? So just for that, I'm going to vote against the resolution.
Thank you, Supervisor Nudo. Any further discussion on ordinance 17 as amended? Any other discussion? Seeing none, there's been a request for a roll call. If you are in favor of ordinance 17 as amended, you will vote yes. If you're against, no. And it does require a 2/3 vote.
Ordinance 17 as amended passes 18 yes, 2 no, and 1 abstain.
Let the record reflect that Supervisor Morrissey wanted to vote no, not abstain. Thank you, Supervisor Morrissey.
Ordinance 19 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, an ordinance amending portions of Municipal Code of Kenosha County, Chapter 8.02. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Brookhouse and Morrissey were excused.
Supervisor Franco.
I move ordinance 19.
Moved by Supervisor Franco, seconded by Supervisor Gray. Supervisor Franco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This ordinance amends the language of Chapter 8.02 of the Kenosha County Municipal Code. The purpose of the ordinance is to ensure that cabaret license holders are in compliance with the ordinance. In particular, in regard to the need for a conditional use permit for musicians who perform outside an establishment after dark. This ordinance passed the Judiciary and Law Committee, and I ask for the board's support. If you have any questions, Supervisor Carroll, who's did much of the groundwork for this particular resolution, can answer any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Franco. Any discussion on ordinance 19? Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to Supervisor Carroll, does this have a positive or negative effect, say, on Country Thunder?
This has no effect on Country Thunder. This is, Country Thunder follows under 8.01, which is under an activity control license. Mm-hmm. This is under 8.02, so it's all smaller venues within the county.
Okay, thank you. Just want to clarify.
Thank you, Supervisor Nordigan. Any other questions or comments on ordinance 19? Seeing none? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Let the record show Supervisor Morrissey voted no. Motion passes.
New business, Resolution 91 from the Public Works and Facilities Committee, a resolution to designate the week of April 21st through April 25th, 2025 as Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Belsky was excused. Isn't that what I said? Oh, Resolution 92 is what I meant to say.
Supervisor Grady?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move resolution number 92.
Moved by Supervisor Grady, second by Supervisor Decker. Supervisor Grady.
Yes, this is a resolution to designate the week of April 21st through 25th as Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. It's a good thing. It's a public awareness thing. It passed our committee unanimously. I'd expect your approval this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Any discussion on Resolution 92? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Resolution 93, from the Public Works and Facilities Committee, a resolution to establish and approve Kenosha County Adopt a Highway Program. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Belsky was excused.
Supervisor Grady.
Move resolution number 93.
Moved by Supervisor Grady, second by Supervisor Gama. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an attempt to beautify Kenosha County 2 miles at a time. We're going to have segments that can be near and dear to you, close to your heart, close to your relatives. You can adopt a highway, clean it up, and make it prettier for everyone. So it's a happy thing. I'd encourage you all to support it and to participate. It did pass our committee unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Carroll.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Grady. Question is just how it's going to be implemented. According on the Wisconsin DOT with their Adopt a Highway, it's an online form that you fill out and things like that. So just curious on how it's going to get rolled out.
It's my impression that you can apply for any 2-mile segment of county road within the county, but the exact mechanism, I am not sure. We have our Director of Highways here. He may be able to answer that question.
So eventually, the hope is that we would have an online form, but as part of the packet, that there is an application/permit, so at this point, we'll put it up online. We're working on, we haven't really announced it publicly yet because it hasn't been approved, but we are looking at some kickoff events to kind of kick off and promote the program, and then it'll be, for now, a paper form that'll be available online that you fill out, and then we in the Highway Department will administer the program.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Bolt?
No, I just think it's a great idea, and I'd love to promote it as much as we can. So I'm sure Joe Patente, and I'm sure we'll be seeing it come out online and social media fairly soon if it gets passed.
Do we think we'll have this going for this month? Will it happen during the month of April that people can sign up, or will it be a little bit later?
Yeah, I think we could start looking at it any time. Right now, there's a proposed kickoff towards the end of April.
Okay.
Kind of, I guess, a little bit of history. Where it started is when Highway 75 became County Truck Highway BD, there are several already folks that adopted that section of road, and they're asking, is that something that we could look into? So we did. So late April, we're looking at having more of a formal kickoff, yes.
Any other questions for Director Bolt? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Communications, 83, communication from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution to approve 2024 to 2025 carryover and annual closeout.
Refer to Finance Administration Committee.
84, communication from Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution authorizing defederalization of the U.S. EDA revolving loan fund, and that CABA continues operating the RLF.
Refer to Finance Administration Committee.
Approval of the March 18th, 2025 minutes by Vice Chair Gashke.
Vice Chair Gashke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the approval of the March 18th minutes.
Motion by Vice Chair Gashke to approve the minutes, second by Supervisor Gentz. Any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Motion by Supervisor Decker to adjourn, second by Supervisor Morrissey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.